So, start here, it was the big part of our build, and one of the most important part of our builds. Determines how much processing we can do with our computers, stuff like that. Like if you want to run games, like the 3D modeling. If you want to use art platforms, or maybe even streaming.
My name is Madhu Panagoti, Principal of International Hindu School.
आज किस तरह का बच्चों को कंप्यूटर के विषय में परीक्षण दी गई और किसके द्वारा दी गई?
Master Lukesh Vasisht Mishra, he is a resident of United States of America, has been working in our school as an internship trainee since July 25th. He worked in different areas. One is computer assembly. It is very useful and our students participated actively, and now it became an activity in our school. Hereafter all other students also will try to assemble the computer in a working condition. And he also participated in English spoken classes, yoga classes, and art and craft digital, Hindi spoken classes, and career counseling session. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Lukesh Mishra. I'm the grandson of the president of IHS, International Hindu School, and I wanted to start a project, and that project was make a computer that the school of IHS can use for their graphics department. The inspiration was I wanted to create a project that I could have students engage in, and we could really work together and create something that I can leave here when I go back home and be proud of. So we created a computer, and like I said, it's for the graphics design department. But while I was doing it, I got to meet so many wonderful kids here, right? And I got to learn more about them. So that was a very fun aspect of this project. But more so on the project, we had to do some research on parts first. So we had to figure out, okay, we're gonna build a 3D modeling computer, which this will require a very powerful graphics card known as NVIDIA RTX cards. So we had to choose a model which we liked. We ended up going with a 3060 option, which was both cheap but also powerful enough to do what we wanted it to do. So after we got that, we had to find parts to build around that base model, or that main component. So we chose a motherboard which was compatible, and we had to find a CPU. Now we could either choose between Intel or AMD. I chose AMD Series 5000 CPU, which was a little difficult to find here in India, but we successfully managed to find one. After that, everything else was just fit and play, plug and play. So we found an SSD, specifically an NVMe SSD that we fitted onto our motherboard. We found 16 gigabytes of RAM, and we have around a terabyte of storage on it. We also found a 500 gigabyte power supply, and we put it all together, and it works wonderfully now. That's it.
I am Aryanshi Tiwari from class 10C of IHS, International Hindu School. मैं आर्यांशी तिवारी हूँ जो इंटरनेशनल हिंदू स्कूल के कक्षा 10 की छात्रा हूँ। मैं यहाँ के
बात की जाए तो आज क्या सीखने को मिला है सिस्टम?
हमने यहाँ पे कंप्यूटर बनाना सीखा। हमने यहाँ पे कंप्यूटर के हार्डवेयर पार्ट्स को कैसे असेंबल किया जाए, हमने वो देखा। हमने ये जो चीज़ें सीखी वो पहली बार सीखी हैं, और ये बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी थी। हमें पता चला कि कैसे क्या चीज़ कहाँ लगानी है, क्या करनी है। अगर अभी भी हमें कोई कंप्यूटर का कोई कैबिनेट खोल के दिया जाए तो हम बता सकते हैं कि हम कहाँ पे कौन सा पार्ट है, कहाँ पे क्या पार्ट लगाना है, क्या नहीं लगाना है। और इससे हमें बहुत ज़्यादा फ़ायदा होगा, क्योंकि कभी अगर हमारा कंप्यूटर भी ख़राब हो तो हम कर सकते हैं अपने से ठीक, हमें किसी और की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
किसने आपको इसकी ट्रेनिंग दी, किसके द्वारा आपको इसे सिखाया गया?
मुकेश सर ने ट्रेनिंग दी, जो कि यहाँ पे हमें इंग्लिश भी पढ़ाने आए थे। उन्होंने हमें इंग्लिश सिखाई, अमेरिकन इंग्लिश। उन्होंने हमें बताया कि कैसे अमेरिकन एक्सेंट को वर्क करवाएं, कैसे अमेरिकन एक्सेंट कहें और कैसे अमेरिकन इंग्लिश कहें, और उन्होंने बहुत सारी चीज़ें सिखाई। उन्होंने हमें कंप्यूटर के पार्ट्स कैसे असेंबल करें वो भी सिखाया।
Hello, my name is Mukesh Mishra. I am the grandson of the president here. at IHS, and we built a computer for the school to use. The first step into building this computer was to really plan out what we wanted it to do, right? What was the goal? What was the purpose for the computer? And the purpose, I want to give the school a computer where they can give it to the graphics department so they will successfully be able to create more complex images using RTX when it comes to started computers. What we ended up coming up with was RTX 3060, which is 2 years old. However, it is powerful enough to do what we want the computer to do. So I'm really happy. I'm going with a Series 5000 AMD processor, which was a little bit difficult to find here in India, but we successfully managed to find one. We then had to find a motherboard, and then everything else was customizable. We could do whatever you want with that. After we chose the motherboard, I knew I wanted at least a terabyte of gigabyte NVMe SSD installed onto the motherboard, along with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and we have a 500 watt power supply. What was the installation process, the building process like?
ठीक है सर वीडियो अभी ठीक है ना सर वीडियो